Shedeur Sanders took 5 sacks on Saturday. I'm rooting for this guy. Let's find out exactly who is to blame for these sacks. But before we do, thank you guys for 100 subscribers. Gotta say it one more time. Let's hop into our first play. Starting off with Shedeur Sanders, going to be dropping back, getting some pressure in the pocket. Very close incompletion to our running back. Let's break it down. All right, the first thing that we're going to be looking for this entire video is when Shedeur Sanders drops back in the pocket, does he stay directly on a single straight line? We know he has a tendency to drift in the pocket, which means, he could drop back and end up a little bit over here or a little bit over here, and this makes it much harder for his offensive lineman to block for him. So when he is maneuvering in the pocket, the first thing we want to do, we want to make sure he drops straight back and forwards. It's not a problem on this play, but it is a problem that he deals with. The other problem that, again, not a problem on this play, but we do need to watch it every single time we are looking at when a quarterback takes a sack, especially when Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback who doesn't fully understand how to use his feet properly yet, steps back. And another mistake that he can make is when he's in a game like this where he's being sacked over and over and over again, we have to make sure he isn't dropping back too far, because when you're dropping back too far, this makes it so instead of this defensive lineman having to go through our blockers, he can just run right around them and get a sack. That's going to be a problem later in the video. But on this play, what we are drawing out is what we're calling on offense is going to be a flood to the bottom of the screen. We have a deep crosser there. Then we have a tight end on a flat route, and then we have a clear out route over the top. If you're wondering what this guy's doing, he's hitting one of these pretty much a post route. Shedeur Sanders, what he's going to be seeing from the LA Ram defense is pretty much a cover 3, where we're going to have 3 safeties and deep thirds, and then we're going to have another linebacker here. Not sure if he's in a curl zone or a hook zone, but he's going to be our read. And what we are reading is which way does this linebacker go. He can either drop back to take away the crossing route, or he can come up forwards and take away this little flat route. And whichever thing he does, Shedeur Sanders is just going to make him always wrong and make sure that whatever that linebacker takes away, Shedeur Sanders is going to throw to the other thing. So if we're going to be able to see how this breaks down in slow motion. Let me redraw this out. If we look at how this plays out in slow motion, it's first down and 10. Snap the ball here. We can see now. So I'm going to get rid of our routes now. Our linebacker here, he is in the middle of the field. He's decided that he's going to sit himself in the passing lane to take away our deep cross, which means Shedeur Sanders has to be, he has to be willing to just take the little check down. I know it's not exciting, but there's a ton of open space over here. Let's hit the check down, live to fight on second down. These guys in the NFL, they're great athletes. They can always break a tackle and take it for something big. You never know what's going to happen. As far as how his pocket presence goes here, let's watch it. He starts just inside the hash marks. So we want to see him pretty much stay on the hash marks. Still perfect, drops straight back. Pressure's here. He's going to hit his back foot, steps straight up. Footwork looks pretty good, as good as it can be when the pocket is collapsing like this around them the way it is. Tries to get it out to the running back, gets hit, delivers a decent throw, but running backs, their pads are pretty big. That's always going to be a tough catch for them. Next one, going to be another incomplete pass where our protection breaks down, no one's open. We're going to try to hit a little playmaker, our running back up the field. Incomplete pass. Let's see what we could have done better. On our next play, this is called curl flats, which is where we're going to have a combination of curl routes and flat routes. So we're going to have a curl there, we're going to have another curl here, then we're going to have a flat route here, and then we're going to have another curl and another flat out here. So the idea of the curl flat play is we are going to, one, if it's any sort of zone, we're going to high-low defenders that may appear here or here. If the defender drops back, takes the curl, we throw it to the flat. If they step up, take the flat, we throw it to the curl. So just like that first play. But in man coverage, the idea of this play is a curl route. It's a pretty sudden route. The idea is your man will be following you right here, and you want to just pretty much, you want to get open against man coverage. That's what I'm trying to say with a lot of words here. So since we are facing a defense that plays like man coverage, we need our wide receivers to find a way to get open. And let's take a look at our curl routes. As these guys are breaking, we have not open, not open, not open. So Shedeur Sanders really doesn't have an option here. That's why he holds on the ball to start. And then we can continue on with the play. Shedeur Sanders is going to pat it, sees pressure coming, rolls right, and honestly, he does something pretty good. They go scramble drill, running back tries to get open, passes a tiny bit overthrown. Would have been an insane play if this was possible. Unfortunately, not able to get it done on this one. Now we got a 3-by-1 set, 3 receivers right, 1 left. Fumble, which sucks. Let's talk about why this happened. On this play, the Cleveland Browns have called a preseason staple called Dagger, where we're going to have a clear out route, behind him a dig route. The way they're running it here is going to be on the backside. They have a curl, and then of course there's always a route to pull down a middling defender from the in route. So we're going to have a curl route over here. How this play works out, what we want to do is if it's man coverage, we're going to, maybe this guy's open, maybe the drag runs away from his guy, maybe we get a guy here. Just find a guy open. You'd actually man coverage, you read it 1, 2, 3. Just go, is he open, is he open, is he open? Zone coverage, which is what we believe we are facing by the pre-snap movement. And by the way, everyone is looking back. One hint for man versus zone is what are the players looking at? Right here, you can see the player is looking back at the quarterback. When you're looking at the quarterback, that is a zone indicator. And when they're looking at their man, that's going to be a man indicator. So Shedeur Sanders thinks he's getting zone right here, and he's going to be right. We're going to get a cover 3. The idea is we're going to find a guy in the middle. Say it with me. The man drops back, we're going to throw it short. The man comes up, we're going to throw it over his head. Pretty simple. Unfortunately, the way it works out here, we do not get enough blocking to fully get this done. So we can see clear out route goes through and successfully is going to get this guy going out. We're going to get the hook zone defender. He's going to step up and take away the drag route, which means we know we have the dig route is going to be our read here. And Shedeur Sanders identifies that correctly on this play. The problem is if we roll the footage, we got beat and we get hit, we fumble. So you can't, got to make sure you're hanging on to the football at all times. Just a tough play. And yeah, our left tackle, 72, I don't know who that is, but we're facing a rush from this guy all the way out here in the wide 9. That is, when they're all the way out there, they got a lot of speed. He's going to go ahead, break our left tackle. Actually, what we need here, what should be happening is if we have a more experienced running back in here, is our running back right here needs to, as he's releasing here, he needs to chip this backer right here and then go out on his route. That would make it a lot easier for the offensive tackle to block this man. The problem is preseason football is going to be sloppy. It's going to be ugly. Shedeur Sanders sees the right guy. He's just not able to make it to him. Next one, play action, naked, bootleg, fake one guy, and then we're going to run out of bounds for technically a sack. Not really a sack, though. This play, the Cleveland Browns have dialed up what's called a naked bootleg. Now, the difference between a bootleg, where the running back gets a play fake and the quarterback, peels all out, the difference between a bootleg and a naked bootleg is how they're handling their backside defender here. On a bootleg, this tight end would stay back in and block for us to give us one man to protect us against whoever's coming over. But on a naked bootleg, this receiver, he's going to release and just do whatever route he's going to do, which is going to leave Shedeur Sanders with a one-on-one with that edge defender. On this play, absolutely shakes him, which is really awesome to see. But let's just want to quickly draw out what is supposed to be going on this play. And what we are trying to do is we're trying to get a flood concept to the bottom of the screen with just 3 outbreaking routes all going to the sidelines. We want to read deepest to shallowest, so we're hopefully number 1's open. If not, we'll go to 2. If not, we'll go to 3. Shedeur Sanders is running for his life because this guy is not blocked, of course, but that he's not blocked by design. Right here, he gets away from him, and he starts to run. Now, here's one of the problems with Shedeur Sanders. Yes, this is a very difficult pass. The problem is, the reason why he doesn't throw it is because he doesn't have the arm talent to throw it. And what I mean by arm talent is his arm is not strong enough and flexible enough to make that throw. Like Caleb Williams, Cam Ward, even Zach Wilson is trying to make that throw. Also, these guys are really, really, really not open. It's actually so frustrating to watch this whole game. But That's where it should be going. A lot of the problems with Shedeur Sanders is, or in this game, is he's looking for guys that are open and no one is open. But the problem is he can't just sit there and hold on to the football for the whole time. You got to take the best of a bad situation. Here, he is going to run for a very short, I believe that's a loss. Who knows where the original line of scrimmage was. Actually, here's our line judge. So the line of scrimmage was somewhere over there. Let's see. Line of scrimmage, 48-yard line. We get out. That's technically a sack. I mean, I would like to see him try this throw, but one of the reasons why he wasn't in the first round for me was because he doesn't have the arm strength to make that throw. And he doesn't have the arm flexibility. He doesn't have the angle to make that throw. It's a really tough play here. The biggest problem is the fact that the wide receivers aren't good enough. But there are other things that are... It's not all the wide receivers. Shedeur is a little bit at fault as well on this play. Now, this is going to be the really bad sack where he gets pushed back and just keeps dropping back. This one hurts to watch. He has to get this problem fixed in the future. On this one, we pretty much just, play call-wise, have a bunch of outs called, and Shedeur Sanders is supposed to pick his favorite one, but he's only going to get a chance to look at one before he's going to be faced with pretty much instantaneous pressure here. But one thing we want to talk about here is one of the first points I made in this video where Shedeur Sanders has to stay on his line when he drops back. He has to make sure he's dropping straight back. So let me get this out of here so we can see a little bit better. He's going to drop back, and you're going to see him just a little bit at a time. He's going to move over. So we start inside the hash marks, and I understand he starts on the hash marks. I understand he's not going to be perfectly on the line. That's not realistic, but one step back, he's a little bit farther in the middle of the hash marks. Next step, he's a little bit outside the hash marks. The next step, he's farther outside the hash marks. Then he, kind of jumps back a little bit even farther. And what him jumping back even farther does is it makes it easier for this pass rusher right here to get some pressure on him. And that's going to start him to continue to drop back. If Shedeur Sanders, I'm not saying he's going to play perfect quarterback like this, but if he stays in the pocket and he's here and this defender has to go through his offensive lineman instead of just around him, there's a possibility that Shedeur Sanders is able to sit in the pocket and deliver a shot right here to give our in-breaking route right here a chance. And of course, that's all really tough. That's not something I would expect a rookie quarterback to do. I just wanted to showcase the fact that the drifting does come into play. But the problem is obviously once we get somewhere like here, ask yourself, yes, no, is someone wide open? If he's wide open, hit him. If not, please throw the ball out of bounds. I'm rooting for Shedeur Sanders. It hurts me to say this. I saw the exact same thing against BYU. There's a play where Colorado is in field goal range and Shedeur Sanders takes him out of field goal range and they miss the field goal because he takes a huge sack. This can't happen. This frustrated me so much when I saw it because I knew that this was one of his number one problems in college, and I know it's a coaching point in the locker room. I can't stand to see this. I really hope Shedeur Sanders learns from this play and never makes this mistake ever again. More pressure, more dropping back. Yeah, just takes another sack. Let's figure out exactly who's at fault on this one. On this one, we're going to watch Shedeur Sanders' line. Ball gets snapped right on the hash mark. So in a perfect world, he would remain directly on the hash marks. We don't live in a perfect world, so it's not always going to be perfect, but we take the snap, drops back. We're now inside the hash marks, and it's not a coincidence that every time, I know I'm really, really nitpicking the shifting in the pocket and not dropping straight back, but it's not a coincidence that every single time he drifts in the pocket, whether he drifts to his left or his right, that's where the pressure comes from. On this play, we are on the inside side of the hash marks, and that's where the pressure comes from. It's not a coincidence. These just 6 inches, it matters. It really does matter. But if we look downfield, it is really gross. The only opportunities we have here is they're going to have someone right over the middle who, I would expect him to hit, but he doesn't go for it. Then your second best option is give this guy a chance over the top. We are facing a cover 3, so in theory this should be covered, but it's not. Shedeur Sanders is gonna see that, but what I'm thinking here is after you are Shedeur Sanders, going to his mind where he has already fumbled once. First of all he's gonna drop back. We're gonna be back on our line. Then when we step up, it's really gross. The main takeaway from these plays is I want to see Shedeur Sanders throw to someone and just give the Browns an opportunity to have a completion, because you can't be holding the ball the entire play, every single play. I understand there really isn't anyone really open. There are no good options, there are no great options other than our in-breaking route over the middle, which looks like an option route, because if we watch this tight end, so this could give us a little bit more of a cause for a hold-up when we're the quarterback. If we were watching our tight end over the middle, this guy right here, he's going to go here and shake. So what this could be, this might even be an option route where he has the opportunity to run either way to get away from his defender, which means Shedeur Sanders now has to hold the ball for an extra second to get away from him. I mean, I'm just trying to talk about anything that Shedeur Sanders could have hypothetically done on this play. Other than him drifting too far inside, he's really just destined to fail on this one. The blocking is not good. The wide receivers are not open enough. I mean, you got to give him credit for hanging on to the football, but this is really bad. I'd love to see him give someone an opportunity. I do have to admit, like, if I'm the quarterback in this situation, I probably would do the same thing. And our final play, we're going to drop way back, step back up, spin some guys out, and put it right on our guy, and he drops it. Oh, boy. Another play where we're just going to be watching the way Shedeur Sanders is going to move around in the pocket. We'll draw our line out. The ball's going to be snapped from the hash marks, but we are standing just inside the hash marks. So that's where we want to stay. If we go slowly, we can see catches it. We're a little bit inside, and then he starts to drift farther inside, and it's not a surprise. Every single time he drifts one way, the pressure comes from the side that he's drifting to. Also, remember the thing that I said from right out off of the beginning of the video? He drifts in the pocket, and two, sometimes he drops back too far. Right now, we have our back foot on the 35-yard line. The ball was snapped from the 45-yard line. We are 10 yards back, and what this does is now if we go back to where the ball is snapped, when we are going that far back, so we remember we're going to end up right here. When we are here, this defensive end can just run around the lineman to get us instead of having to go through the offensive lineman. By Shedeur Sanders dropping back too far on this play, and it's completely understandable because he's been under siege all night, he makes it so this offensive lineman's job is impossible. Like, look at the combine numbers. Defensive ends are a lot faster than offensive linemen. There's no way. I mean, our defensive lineman, if Shedeur Sanders takes a three-step drop like he's supposed to, 1, 2, 3, hangs around like here, somewhere in this area, instead of take that like, I know you want to get your foot back, but he kind of drags. This is a big step. He's too far back. You get the point. If we're somewhere here, now this guy has to go through us. He has to go through 64, our lineman right here. But the problem is we're too far back. He's able to go around him. And, let's pretend like the footwork was perfect. I mean, it's gross downfield. Like, it's always gross downfield. One of the things we had dialed up was 2 drag routes. And the idea is you want to get guys hung up on each other, which is what kind of happens. Shedeur Sanders would have had an option to, throw here. But even if he did have perfect footwork, there was another defensive end. This guy who is getting blocked by 2 guys at the top of the screen would have blown that up. So Shedeur Sanders, I understand, even if he had perfect footwork on this play, which he didn't, it still would have been a sack probably because the blocking was that bad. But if we go here, we can see covered, maybe open, covered. So it's really gross. Everything that Shedeur Sanders has going for him on this play is gross. But the worst thing, the thing that hurt me to see, was after he gets sacked. I don't have it here because I don't want to play too much for copyright reasons. Shedeur Sanders pretty much throws a little bit of a temper tantrum after this play because he makes a great play. Even if this pass isn't perfectly on the running back at the end, after everything he's gone through, Shedeur Sanders wants to see that be a completion. But after the running back drops it, he kind of has a little bit of a temper tantrum on the sidelines, which can't happen. Shedeur Sanders has to keep his head up because he's out here fighting. It's a tough situation. The coaches can't see that. The other players in the locker room can't see that. He's got to be able to keep his cool. The Cleveland Browns are going to hang on to 4 quarterbacks. That's crazy. Let's see how it works out for them. If you stuck around this long in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you have not hit the like button, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And again, one more time, thank you for watching.